Hi, I am Tim from Gaming Side, working as a game designer on the space combat of Star Trek Voyager, Across the Unknown. When designing the space combat, we looked at both how it works in the TV show as well as how other Star Trek games handled the pivotal part. We took inspiration from Starfleet Command, Bridge Commander and Star Trek Legacy, but also had a central power fantasy in mind, that you are the captain. You do not fly the ship, you have Tom Paris for that. Nor do you manually aim and fire the phasers. This is Tuvok's job. Instead, you give commands to your crew, which enemies and subsystems to target. You're doing this via the radial order menu, and especially the attack and defend options. A key point in Star Trek combat is the positioning of your ship in relation to the enemy, as there are different subsystems located on each side, and the shields on each side are weakened but also recharged independently. However, in order to hit the respective side, you obviously need a clear line of sight. By selecting to attack the enemy weapons located in front, your helmsman will try to maneuver Voyager in front of the enemy to give your security officer a clear shot at the desired subsystem. Note that while he will continue to fire regardless and hit other sides, he can only wear down the front shield and damage the weapon subsystem once the relative position is reached. The same, however, is true for Voyager. If enemies target the ship's warp core and the port shields are close to failing, you might consider using the Defend the Port order, so your helmsman turns the ship around. Once your currently selected enemy is no longer able to shoot at your port shields, they will slowly recharge and you can make some necessary repairs to the underlying subsystem. Again, your security officer will keep firing, but is likely no longer able to hit the enemy's weapons, due to a lack of direct line of sight. So, are you risking taking critical damage to deal the final blow, or will you abort the attack? While phaser fire has a certain bleed-through ratio to deal damage even through shields, torpedoes can only deal devastating damage to the hull once shields are down. As timing is key to hit the correct side, and supply is limited, you need to order firing torpedoes manually. Other parts of the radial menu involve the option to flee combat, which is only available once either enemy's warp engines are disabled, or if your cloaking device is ready, only if you have one, as otherwise they would follow you easily, or the option to surrender by giving your enemy resources. However, be aware that not every enemy would accept a surrender. In addition to the command menu and the manual firing of torpedoes, you also need to give orders to your bridge crew when to use their special abilities. Before each fight, you select up to 3 from a broad variety. Paris, flying an evasive maneuver to dodge incoming attacks. Belana, overcharging the warp core to give you more energy to use. Or even 7 of 9, firing a more confused torpedo. But there are many more to explore. As skills have a certain cooldown and often work best in a certain situation or order, for example, unleashing Tuvok's double shot once Harry hacked the enemy shield frequencies, timing these skills is crucial. The final piece to survive as a starship captain is managing your energy distribution. Each combat room you have built is represented by an empty bar, with the total number of energy bars available depending on your current warp core level. While at the beginning of the game you still have enough energy to power everything, new combat systems such as the warp cutting beam, energy dissipator or the cloaking device will force you to choose your energy allocation wisely. To add a little more depth, certain hero abilities allow you to temporarily overcharge systems. Damage to your warp core, on the other hand, makes your energy levels drop, forcing you to change tactics on the fly. Luckily, you can pause the game at any time and take a deep breath. While space combat is only a small part of our game, it is closely connected to your ship build and develops more depth as you progress throughout the Delta Quadrant. New technologies and increasing hero abilities keep adding to the options you have at your disposal. Depending on your specific objectives within a combat encounter, you can employ very different tactics. Remember that you can always auto-resolve space combat. In this case, the result is calculated similarly to away missions or points of interest, with your ship build deciding your chances. We hope this video has given you a better understanding of some of the inner workings and design choices for space combat, and hope to see you in the data quadrant soon.